Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to share with you some double-sided placemats that I made for the spring and summer season. For the spring side, I chose this fabric from Joann's. It's a really pretty pastel-y gingham pattern, perfect for spring in my opinion. And this one for the summer, some brightly colored citrus fruit looking things from Joann's. It's a really straightforward pattern. I've done this once before for the fall and the winter months. They turned out really nicely. They were a huge hit, so I decided why not do the same for spring and summer, and this time record it. So if you'd like to watch and see how I made these double-sided patterns and hopefully make some for yourself, then just keep watching. Alright, first step is ironing. Very important step. You don't want to skip it. No matter how smooth you think your fabric is, I assure you it will look much better and be much easier to work with once it's been pressed. So just sit back and enjoy some nice relaxing footage of me ironing both sets of fabric. And we're back. As you can see, my ironing wasn't exactly perfect. I wasn't able to get out all of those wrinkles, but this is kind of a laid-back project, so I wasn't exactly aiming for perfection. Now it's time to measure and cut out the placemat pieces. I went for dimensions of 19 by 14. That's 19 by 14 inches, or 48¼ centimeters by 35½ centimeters. Of course, you can use whatever dimensions work for you. I was pretty casual with the seam allowances as well. I tried to make them anywhere between 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch, but it isn't anything that needed to be particularly precise. So now you can go ahead and enjoy some relaxing cutting footage. Or rather, I should say some measuring and cutting footage. Oh, and if you're wondering why I didn't just take the entire cut of fabric and fold it up as many times as I needed to and just measure and cut once, it's because I just didn't think of it. It would have saved me a lot of time and effort and energy, but that's what happens sometimes. I did think of that when it came to the summer fabric, so at least it wasn't a total loss.
It's a 16 buff in the dark. It's a 16 buff in the dark. It's a 16.
And here's the summer fabric. As you can see, I did remember to fold up the entire cut of fabric and just measure it and cut it once. Sorry, I don't know where all the footage of my actual cutting went, but as you can hear, you can see it's all cut. And at this point, I'm just laying each layer of fabric on top of one another, making sure that the summer side faces, the outside of the summer fabric faces outside. The spring side was equal on both sides, so it didn't really matter on what end I laid it onto the summer fabric, but you get what I mean. And of course, we're just pinning 3 out of the 4 sides of the placemat. I might have actually pinned all 4 sides just as a force of habit. I tend to do that. When I'm sewing a project that requires sewing 3 sides of a rectangle and then turning it right side in and leaving one end open, just for whatever reason, I end up sewing all 4 sides usually and have to unpick one side. I don't know why. It's just a mental blockage. I may or may not have done that on this project. I just deleted the footage. So here we go, pinning all 3 sides, and then we will head over to the sewing machine shortly. Yep, there I go, pinning the 4th side. I don't know what to do with myself sometimes. Okay, here we go. Sewing up the 3 sides that will serve as the edge of each placemat and leaving the 4th side open. And I'm sorry that I didn't leave the authentic, natural sewing machine sounds in the video. I usually enjoy it when I watch sewing videos and I get to hear the sound of the sewing machine. So I will remember that for the future. Sorry if that was something you were looking forward to. Alright, now we get to turn the placemat right side out. And to assist in poking out each corner, I'm going to use this Clover heat-resistant ruler. And I'm going to show it to you in a minute so you get a closer look. It's made out of material that is heat-resistant, so you can iron it, but I kind of like shoved the corners and negotiated the fabric around it to kind of get the corner to pop out as nicely as possible, just using the corner of that ruler that I showed you, and then kind of laying the fabric, stretching the fabric across the edge of that ruler to get as straight a line as I could using the gingham pattern to help line up the straight edge, and then giving it a good press along all 4 sides. If you do use one of these heat resistant rulers, you just want to be careful, because when you reach in to adjust it and move it along the seam, it is going to be rather hot. A lot of the heat from the iron gets trapped on the inside, so just be careful if you're going to do that. So now we're at one of the most difficult and challenging parts of this whole project. When it comes to folding in the outer edge, the opening edge, it becomes tricky to fold each part and have it sit nice and flat against one another, be even, especially at the corners, and not burn your fingers. This is where the snipping of the corners actually comes in handy. Had a close call there. I was trying to hold up the folded edges after I was successful to kind of show you how it's supposed to look, but really all you really want to be concerned with really is whether the folded edges are even with one another. That's really the most important thing. And of course, adding pins helps, and there I go, pinning the wrong side. Way to go. I discover that after I start to sew, but I pin the pins, I stick the pins in parallel to the folded edge instead of perpendicular as you normally would. I'm not sure if I left in the footage of myself at the sewing machine discovering that I had pinned the wrong side. You kind of see my body exhale. I might have deleted it. Yeah, I think I gave myself a little dignity and deleted that footage. So as you can see, the seam on the edge that closes up the placemat is much smaller than the edges of the other seams. It's about, I'd say about 1/8 of an inch. And then the final step, you just give it one more press, smooth everything out, make it look nice and polished and finished, and we're done. I ended up making 8 of these all together actually, which is why it took so long for me to finish. So here's the final product. It came out really well, in my opinion. It was really easy, it was fun, it was straightforward, and I can't wait to use them. Here's the spring side, here is the summer side, and I hope you enjoyed watching the process. It was the first time I ever filmed myself making a project, so hopefully there weren't too many errors or, I don't know, mistakes, but it's a learning process for me as well. So I appreciate you bearing with me, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.